So hey guys, this is Guillermo from Cave of Swimmers, and I get actually asked a whole bunch about the setup that I have, and hopefully this will be um, I'll be able to answer some of your questions today. So essentially, Arturo approached me a few years ago with the idea of having a duo, and I started thinking about um, how I was going to be able to cover all the frequencies, from the guitar and the bass. Uh, so I'm a guitar player, so I started thinking in terms of the guitar signal, right? So essentially, you have this guitar, which is just a stock Gibson SG, a standard. I haven't changed anything on it. It is what it is. Bought it at a pawn shop. As far as I'm concerned, nothing has been really changed on it. I think as far as the year, it's probably early 2000s. Um, and as you guys probably know, the signal goes from the guitar to the amplifier. So if we follow our signal path, I go straight into a tuner, which will mute the signal if I hit it. And so I can tune my guitar there. And then from the tuner, I go to an A-B pedal. And this A-B pedal, one of the outputs, output A, is going to go to super overdrive. And this super overdrive, it's a Boss, it's stock, it's just a regular yellow one. And if I don't push this pedal, the signal sounds like this. Except without this guy, let me see. So. So I use this just for a little extra gain, just to push the amp a little bit. And then from the super overdrive, I go to a double tracker. And the double tracker splits the signal in two again. So I can run the guitar stereo into two quilter tone blocks. And they sound pretty much like maybe like a JCM 800, maybe like a Marshall. That's the kind of tone that you get from these. And everything is just set up like full blast on these. So the cool thing about the double tracker is that it kind of makes it sound like they're two guitars. So if when it's off, so if I turn the super overdrive, it gives you a little extra edge there. I'll just take the drive down. But if I engage this guy, then I have two guitars. And yeah, so that goes straight to these two guys. And as far as the effects that I'm running, I just have a delay and an eventide pitch factor. The delay, I set it up all the way. The level is all the way, and it's set up like this. Oh, and the effects are only running through the right channel, which is this guy right here, which is this amp. So this amp is completely wet, and this amp is completely dry except for the super overdrive, because this guy is driving both of these amps, but both of these effects are only running through this amp. I hope that makes sense. Anyway, as far as the delay, I'm gonna just play the wet amplifier. So when you're playing a chorus or something like that, and you want to make it sound really big, and then you engage that guy. Yeah, you have that nice tail there. And as far as the harmonizer, what I do to it is, depending on the key that I'm soloing, I just program it so that it'll sort of give me maybe a third like diatonic thirds. So if I'm, say, playing an E minor, so one of the amps is completely wet and the other one is dry. So if I play with the wet one, but if I add the dry one, you have those Iron Maiden sounds. Okay, so that's as far as the guitar part of it. And now the bass part of it, which is, if we go back, rewind the tape, back to the tuner, we went into an A-B pedal. That's the output A. The output A goes into the guitar. The output B is where I sort of try to handle my bass sounds, right? And as far as that, I've had throughout the years many different pedals to do octaves, but the problem was that, you can hear the radio here, when you hit a chord, it kind of distorted a little bit. So I was trying to figure out what to do, and I came across this pedal called the Synth 9, and I set it up to a polyphonic setting that has a lot of low end, and it solves that issue, I think, because here, if I push this little button right here, I can have just the bass signal by itself. Right. So if I hit a chord, I can hear every note. And it has a lot of bass. There, maybe. And if I add the guitar on top, then I have a little orchestra of my own. And I can orchestrate, like in the Sun, for instance, I can, turn only one guitar on, and then I just crescendo from there, like, not crescendo, but build up from there, like. And the second guitar comes in. And the bass comes in. And then you can have a full sound. So that's while I'm playing the riffs, I do that. And if I need an extra push, I just turn the Big Muff on, although that can create some issues also with distortion, but I just use it for maybe more low end. So that's why I don't use too much distortion on it. So if I need a little bit more, it depends on the room where we're playing. If I need a little bit more low end, I'll just turn this on, but for the most part it's off. Okay, so that's the output B. It goes Synth 9, Big Muff, and then it goes into a Big Shot I/O. This is an instrument selector. It's not an A/B box, although I think you can use it as one, but it's basically it is an instrument selector. So you go from this part, from the synth and the Big Muff, into the input, one of the inputs of the instrument selector, and the other input goes, or in the other input, I should say, I put a Minitar, which I control with this Roland PK5. Now I do this live because it's a simpler setup, but in the studio I have a Taurus 3 pedal. If I hit the select button in the instrument selector, I can switch between either the Synth 9 pedal or the Minitar. So I engage that whenever I'm soloing. So if I can solo in many different ways. I can do, your regular good old, whatever, arpeggios and stuff like that. And that's another thing. When I engage this guy, since it just gives me one single tone. When I'm soloing, I try not to noodle too much, but rather just play stuff that will describe the chord, because there's no bass player to suggest anything. So in that same vein, what I would do is, even to describe the chords even further, I just engage the harmonizer, and then the listener can really appreciate the chord, because there are two voices here and the bass. So if you put it all together, you can create all that Iron Maiden stuff, you know, like this. Now, for all you music theory nerds out there, this is in harmonic minor, so that it'll give you the five, uh, dominant five, which I played there. So anyway, so that's for the music theory nerds. Okay, so that's that, and then I have this guitar, and then I have another guitar that I use in this. And sometimes I use it live. It depends on where we play, also, and how much gear I want to carry around, and which is a big. Oh, I forgot about the speakers. Well, let me show you this guitar first, and then I'll tell you a little bit about the speakers. So this guitar right here is what I call the Rambo guitar, because it has a Rambo picture there. Is a double neck, and it has a bass on top and a guitar in the bottom. Kind of started writing songs that I thought, well, maybe I can just do both. So I kind of got this guitar that is insane. So what you can do with this is, I did actually modify this somewhat. I sawed this here. I put a 1984 quarter here, because that's the year I was born. Yeah, I switched this pickup. And I installed this single coil right here. So this little switch. With this switch, you can select between the guitar and the bass. So obviously you don't want to run the bass through the guitar gear. I mean, you could run it through the guitar amp, but I don't do that. I try to maybe disengage the synth and run it through the bass amp. And I got to get my fingers a little greasy here to play the bass. It's greased out. Yeah. Something like that. So, and then, you can just switch back to the guitar, and, and there you have it. It's running in stereo, because we have three different amplifiers. Yeah, these are just stock Mesa cabinets, 212. But they're a little smaller. They're what they call the compact or something like that. Rectifier cabinets, and they have V30s in them, which is the sound that I like particularly. For rhythm, it sounds great, so I use that. And in the bottom, I'm using these Harkey speakers, which are great for your back. I hope this answered a few of your questions. There you go. Bye, kids.